You're a Russia program fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, and Fred Fleitz is a senior fellow at the America First Policy Institute and a former chief of staff for the National Security Council. Good morning to you both. Thanks for coming on. Ivana, I'll start with you if I can. The president is en route now. It's a 7-hour trip. We expect to see something happen after 3 p.m. Eastern time, which we are following. He spoke to a gaggle of press on Air Force One already. What are you expecting to happen today between Putin and Trump?
I actually do not expect much because Putin is not interested in negotiations in good faith. I believe that Putin is just buying more time because he has very, very clear goals. He wants to subjugate Ukraine, not to reach a genuine compromise. And my concern is also that Putin plans to use today's negotiations also to peddle domestically how Russia is still important and equal to the United States. So when it comes to something concrete, I do not expect something like that to happen today. But I also believe that President Trump doesn't expect something major to happen today. As he mentioned, that follow-up meeting will be more technical with more people, probably even including Zelensky and some European allies. So I'm not very hopeful about his meeting.
Yeah, the president has sort of alluded to this as opening the door to future conversations. President Putin, though, just yesterday shared his thoughts about President Trump and potential efforts to end the conflict. Listen to this.
I want to update you on where we stand with today's American administration, which, as everyone knows quite well, is making rather energetic and sincere efforts, in my view, to halt hostilities, end the crisis, and reach agreements beneficial to all parties involved in this conflict.
So, Fred Fleitz, next to you, what do you think of this, sort of pre-meeting approach that Putin's opening up to?
Well, I take a different view. I think Putin's coming to deal. He's read the press that Trump is quite angry with him for disrespecting him by not taking advantage of Trump's extensive and rather generous diplomatic efforts. He knows Trump will walk away. Remember, Trump walked away from a summit of Kim Jong-un in Vietnam. And this will be a very quick meeting if Putin comes and shows no interest in sincerely negotiating an end to this conflict. The trick will be, will Putin offer sufficient compromises to prove to Trump that he's willing to move on an agreement. But Putin realizes Trump is prepared to implement very punishing energy sanctions if he comes to this summit prepared to play games. So either this is going to be a very short meeting or a very long discussion to get to the next summit.
Yeah, and also, too, I wanted to read from the gaggle that reporters were able to question President Trump en route to Alaska. He was asked about the phone calls. President Trump, Ivana, had many phone calls with President Putin. Nothing really came about these. Perhaps some sentiments were made. They were not followed through in terms of positivity. But he was asked about that. What's the difference between the face-to-face in-person meetings versus the phone calls? And the president says, quote, "I notice he's bringing a lot of business people from Russia, and that's good. I like that because I want to do business, but then I do business until we get the war settled." And I mentioned earlier that the Secretary of Treasury, the Secretary of Commerce, they are also on this flight as well. Is there more at stake, Ivana, than Ukraine and Russia?
Words are cheap for Vladimir Putin. The only thing that he understands is the language of power, and delivering more weapons to Ukraine, absolutely imposing more sanctions are the only two things that Putin truly fears. So this particular meeting, unlike the other meetings, I think President Trump is trying to give Putin the last chance to settle this war. Putin has threatened already multiple times with nukes, and unlike President Biden, President Trump actually removed this threat from the negotiation table by threatening with nuclear submarines. So I'm very glad, that peace through strength by showing power, Putin, that's something that Putin understands, and I believe that we are going to see during the meeting too.
All right. Newsmax will have complete coverage. A lot to look forward to this afternoon. Ivana Stradner and Fred Fleitz, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.